So I wanted to get into the Dragon Quest franchise because they were adding the Luminary and a bunch of other characters from Dragon Quest in the Smash Bros. So I knew the most recent edition of Dragon Quest is Dragon Quest XI, so I figured it'd be easy as playing 1 through 11. Well, I was wrong. So I'm just gonna explain my frustration with this franchise. Alright, let's get some basic information out of the way about the Dragon Quest franchise. There are 11 different Dragon Quest games. Dragon Quest 1 through 4 were originally released on the Famicom/NES. Dragon Quest 5 and 6 were originally released on the Super Famicom/Super Nintendo. Dragon Quest 7 was originally released on the PlayStation. Dragon Quest 8 originally released for the PlayStation 2. Dragon Quest 9 released for the Nintendo DS. Dragon Quest X, unlike the rest of the franchise, is actually an MMORPG and released for every console I can think of under the rising sun. And finally, Dragon Quest XI basically released for everything except for the Xbox One. But alas! You gotta pay attention there, cause I don't know if you noticed, but for all those all the way up until Dragon Quest VIII, I said originally released. That's right, Dragon Quest 1 through 8 have been re-released on a bunch of different other consoles. Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3 were all re-released for the Super Famicom. Dragon Quest 4, 5, and 6 were all re-released for the Nintendo DS. And Dragon Quest 7 and 8 were re-released on the Nintendo 3DS. And now I think I should mention that, you don't just play 1 through 11. They're split up into different kind of trilogies, like, Star Wars. Alright, so we're going to start off with the Erdrick Lodo trilogy, and it's important to know that you gotta play these ones in order, so that the third installment has a little bit more of an oomph to it. From what I've heard, these installments aren't that newcomer friendly, but it doesn't matter. Now, Dragon Quest 4, 5, and 6 are known as the Zenithia trilogy. Please correct me, Dragon Quest fans out there, if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Now, these games, unlike the previous 3, are in no particular order. You can play them in whatever order you want, and this is highly recommended from what I've heard as a good place to start. Like, start with either 4 or 5, but I'm still not sure. Now, from this point on, there isn't really any trilogies. I'm just putting it into trilogies so that I can make it easier upon myself to figure this shit out. So I've just gone and called this the PlayStation, but that one DS game trilogy. Once again, no particular order here, play them however you want. I'm pretty sure, I don't know. Now there's only 2 games left to talk about, so I just went ahead and called this the, hey, that's not a trilogy. Like I said earlier, Dragon Quest X isn't really a RPG, it's an MMORPG. And once again, no particular order, I'm pretty sure. Now, let's get to the reason why I made this video in the first place, and why I'm so confused. One of the biggest sources of my confusion about playing this series is that I found out here in America, the games weren't released as Dragon Quest, they were released as Dragon Warrior. And it gets even better because Dragon Quest 5 and 6 weren't even originally released here in North America. And I'm not even sure if Dragon Quest 7 was released here as Dragon Warrior 7, and Dragon Warrior 8 doesn't exist because they just released it here as Dragon Quest 7 and named them Quest afterwards from this point on. So with all the re-releases, different titles, names in different regions, and different systems that this has come out on, I would just say it myself, but I'll just put the clip in.
I have several questions.
What order am I supposed to play these games in if I really want to get into the series? Do I play them 1 through 11 like God intended? Or do I start with different ones because they're more newcomer friendly. What version do I play if I want to have the best experience, or what version is just superior in general? Or, if I want to play the earlier Dragon Quest games, do I just play the Dragon Warrior versions? But at the same time, did they take out any of the plot points from Dragon Quest and kind of fill it in with cheesy American things like they would do when they're transferring games over? Is the plot same or difference between the Dragon Quest and Dragon Warrior games? Somebody needs to tell me. I really don't know if there's anyone who can help me with my situation. Where should I go? Who should I ask? Should I just Google it? Or even better, maybe I'll just ask the official Dragon Quest subreddit. But I don't know what I'm gonna do. A billion other questions to talk about. Those questions that I had, just a few examples that I thought were kind of important, but I have many, many others, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna get into this franchise just because it's so complicated to play, specifically for an American like me. So, this is BJT Gaming, signing out.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me, even if it's fake.